You are listening to Activate Evolution, a gateway to infinite possibilities with Jules Arness. Is your soul craving and longing to remember your path and your mission? Are you ready to activate your evolution? Connect to your heart, take a deep breath, and start your journey to infinite possibilities. All right, blessing soul family. This is Jules, and this is the Activate Evolution Live Interactive Show. And today we are going to tap into the frequencies of the summer solstice and what to expect over these next 6 months. I don't know about you all, but I feel like I got plugged in to a light socket today, and these energies are definitely here and they are pouring into us. And if you're not quite feeling it yet, know that you're going to. They're for everybody, and in our own individual way. The message that I've been getting, gosh, for about 6 weeks now, I'm going to say intently, but is that frequency of going from the consuming to the doing. And one thing, there was a very specific energy pattern that I wasn't going to share it, but for some reason, I'm just getting a really strong feeling that I'm supposed to share it. So if it resonates, take it. And if it doesn't, it's not for you. There's one very specific energetic pattern that I've noticed just in reflection, is this place where we stay in our comfort zone so much that we start to create frequencies of scarcity. And that it's kind of like that frequency of, well, just what I was saying, like kind of stay in my house where I can be in my own little sanctuary and I don't break out. But then when we start to do that, we start to create these energetic patterns that almost like creating little box around ourselves, because we are, I guess with a lack of a better word, I want to say hibernating, but it's so much more than that. It's this place of protection. And what happens when we do that is that when we break out and we start to move into the world, that we start to have other energies come into our field of reference, and then we create a judgment around the difference in frequency. And so we move back into, I'm just going to say hibernation. That's like an extreme word, but we're just going to say that. And then we start to continue to create these little boxes. Well, over time, what ends up happening is that, well, first of all, we've disconnected our gift from the world. And our gift starts to shut down. And then we start to create this trail of scarcity. Well, then what happens then is we start to want to hook into an energy outside of ourselves that'll be the answer to our scarcity so that we can move out. But then we don't actually want to put the effort or the investment into creating the change. And I'm not even just talking money, you guys. When I'm saying and talking investment, I am talking taking something from sitting in receiving information. Like a perfect example of this is reading a book. And when you're reading the book, you get excited, you're tuning to the energy, you're getting ideas about what you're going to do. And then when the book is over and your energy is taken out of the book because you're no longer attuning to it when you're reading it every single day, you forget about it. So you learned all this stuff, but you never actually did anything with the information that you learned. That is this is the exact energy that is going to make a huge difference in how we use these energies that are coming in for us right now. So are you going to read the book and actually do it? And what we could say, like, read the book of how to reach your highest frequency and hold it there for the rest of your life. Let's just say that that's the book. I'm in, let's do it. But you can't just read it. Like, we actually have to do what the book is saying. And so these first 6 months of this year have been all about kind of planting these seeds of what it is that we are capable of doing. Today it's like somebody just plugged us in, and I was explaining this to the group a little bit earlier today. It's like where the rocket ship is, they what I don't know if what they do, if they turn it on or what happens when it's gonna go, but somebody turned it on, and now all of this fire is starting to build and it's ready to take off. And it's up to us to actually choose to get in the rocket ship in order to go somewhere. And that means that we have to leave the comfort of these energies, this little boxed up energy that we've created for ourselves, and trust that, that we're going to make it through the atmosphere, and that we're going to go to whatever planet that we're going to. Or you can just imagine kind of what fear that would be to go into a rocket ship for the first time. These energies that are coming in are just like that. It's like, where is my rocket ship going to go? And am I willing to get on? Am I willing to make the choices that need to be made in order for me to take off? And I don't, this can be little things, like it's for me to take off in creating a better relationship with my husband. Am I ready to take off and creating a better relationship with my daughters? Am I going to take off and create a better relationship with my community? Am I willing to get out of my comfort zone and start saying yes to this energy that is just bubbling underneath me? Because guess what? The seeds were planted, they germinated. Like, we did a really good job with taking good care of watering it and making sure that it's all good. And now it's go time. It's just go time. And it's up to us to use these energies to get the highest potential that we can in order to do that. So I want you to think right now about maybe something in your life that you already know the answer to. I can give you an example of this. I'm going to give you, this isn't happening right now. This happened to me before, but it can give you a little bit of a story of what this would look like. So before I divorced my husband, I knew that I was supposed to, that was my next. But even though I knew it, and that was the guidance I got, and I mean, literally, somebody smacked me across the face and said, yes, this is the answer, I kept asking, well, give me one more sign. It's like, just give me one more sign. And what I realized is that, like, the universe was like, okay, we literally just slapped you across the face and you want another sign? Like, are you sure? And what I realized was, I just didn't want to listen. I didn't want to listen to what the voice was saying. And so I kept asking for another sign because I thought if I kept asking, I would receive something different. So just reflect in your life right now where maybe this is true for you, that you already know the answer. You already know the next right step. But there's a part of you that doesn't want to listen to what that next right step is. Today is the day to make the decision to take that step. I don't care if you take the step today, just make the decision consciously that you are going to. Because this is the day where we have the ability to shift that energy and put it into the rocket ship for it to take off. But if we don't ever leave our little box, that's the decision, to leave the box, move over, get on the rocket ship, and then see what happens. Okay, Kathy, yay. Okay, wait, hold on. Let me unpin myself, or here, let's just do it this way. Gallery view. Kathy.
I can give you a demonstration.
Okay.
I Friday morning, going into Saturday at 2:30 a.m., I bolted up out of bed, and the divine said, okay, it's time to put all your color away, because I had embodied it. I didn't need the color outside of myself because it's coming from inside of myself. And I got up, came into my living room. I took all of the color down and just made it simple.
I love it. I love it. What I was seeing when you said that the color was inside of me was that just that those 7 elements in full expression, and I'm getting chills on that. It's like once we embody it, everything changes.
Even a couple of days that the previous week, I couldn't have done that, but it was time. And it was just came in and did a ceremony with taking my silks off and just really embodying this simplicity.
I love it. Thank you for sharing. Leanne, I'm going to just reach out to you because I can just hear. I just feel like you have something to share.
Well, it's interesting that you said that, because I got the same message about the embodying the 7 elements, and it's as simple as just consciously plugging in and asking, okay, it's time to plug myself in. And I was just at a picnic with my girls, and I'm sharing this example because that is the responsibility that I'm feeling connected to as well, that Jules was talking about. As these portals of these energies, it is a responsibility to plug ourselves in and really practice it. And when you do so, it does become easier, and it really does feel like the sun in multiple colors going outward, and you don't even notice the people around you, and then the right people just come to you, and it's such a beautiful place to be. So I invite you all to start practicing this daily.
And for those that maybe don't know what the 7 elements are, a really simple way to just bring them into your experience is just see it like a rainbow. And whether you want to see that rainbow in your heart and just moving out, but each ray of light holds an intelligence that allows us to move into the experience of expression. And that expression, of course, is from the divine intelligence, and we can share that expression with others. Thank you for sharing, Leanne. Does anybody else have something that they want to share, or we can open it up to questions? Let's just share kind of like what everybody's been feeling today. Go ahead, Priya.
Well, I had something that happened here a couple of days ago. So I've been reading these placemats, and I got a pattern, and it just wasn't feeling right. And I was following what they were saying to do, and it was just like, there was no energy behind it. And so I went in and I thought, I'm changing the colors, I'm changing it, I'm going to tweak it this way, I'm going to do this number instead of that number. And all of a sudden, it's like this excitement of the weaving. It was like a yes. And it was like, yes, coming from within me instead of following someone else's pattern. It was what was coming in within me to recreate. And it was just like an example of what Kathy was saying, you know, or my own way, but it was just listening within.
So are you, just so I'm clear, are you crocheting them, or how are you doing it?
I'm a weaver, and I have looms. Okay. So thread by thread, I thread a pattern. So there's hundreds of threads. And so the pattern is set for what's called the warp. But I can change the other threads going this way instead of up and down. They're set. So I changed and just altered. I mean, I love creating my own patterns, and that's what it was like, come from within, Priya. This isn't working. And once I listened and started altering and changed the colors and tweaked this and tweaked that, it came alive.
That is such a beautiful example of what we're doing. It's that place where we're not creating from the energies that have already been created. We're being asked to redefine everything. And if we are pulling on energy, just like with Priya, it was like, oh, well, it was supposed to be this way, but it just wasn't right. Well, because it's already been created that way. So then she had to just tap into her own divine intelligence and let that move into the expression of what was actually trying to be created. That's the perfect example of how we can, if we choose to consciously start to live our lives that way. I mean, it can literally be, and it doesn't necessarily mean that something different is being created. I mean, let's be really real about this, you guys. Like, it could be as simple as, what energy am I turning my car on? Am I turning it on unconsciously the way I always do? Or am I choosing to let the energy of the divine move through my hand and have the experience of movement in full expression? It is the same exact movement, but it's done from a completely different place. And that's where we have the opportunity to continue to shift energetic patterns just by choosing to move an energy into a different place before we take action. Anybody else have anything they want to share? Yeah, Gabriella. Thank you for sharing, Priya.
Thank you. A little bit from what I experienced in the meeting before, and part of the message was through the change that is happening within me, or the transformation, each breath is a particle of possibility that is going out no matter where I am. Each breath in is particles of possibility. And so as simple as each breath is a change in the world. That's sort of where I'm sitting in.
That touched my heart so deeply. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, just literally, you guys, the way we breathe can change reality. And that's what I'm going to get to in just a second, Sandy. That's what Gabriella just said, and what Priya just said, and Kathy, everybody that has shared so far, is shifting something that we maybe just don't even think about, and shifting it into this place of, let's just turn and look at it. Let's just look at it. Because once we look at something and we choose to see it from our perspective, and we invite that intelligence to come in and show us what's actually there, we break illusion. That is the simplest way to break illusion, is to choose to see what's being shown, not to unconsciously just move by it or pretend like it's not there or go into resistance. We just look at it. We see what's there. And then when we choose to see what's there, we're given the information that is needed in order to shift it into a higher frequency. So even just, okay, well, I'm getting ready to turn on my car, and I'm going to choose to let this go into the divine expression of turning on my car. I completely shifted the frequency of what my experience was. Well, once I do that, well, then the frequency that's going to come after that is going to shift, and after and after and after. And we're going to get to this in just a moment. But what I'd like to do is pick an illusion that we can pick just one that's kind of happening in society. And I have an idea of which one we can use. And I'll go into the agreement and shift it into a frequency of the creation of the divine, and just see how, when we have two or more gather and we all choose to agree to a frequency of divine creation over the reality of what we quote unquote see, we can make really big changes. So we'll get to that in just a minute. Sandy.
Gabriella, that was so beautiful. Thank you so very much. I kind of really wanted to share similar reflection or what I'm experiencing in regard to, I feel I have much more intention, and I'm more aware. I catch it quicker that, you know, if I'm taking supplements, I'm looking at the supplements and I'm actually the intention is for every manufacturer that made these supplements had the intention of helping us become more healthy. So before I take the supplements, I think about that with an intention, or I take my structured water and I say H3O2, that there's an intention there. And I have found that in the last 6 weeks, even my whole way of taking care of my physical body is changing in regard to developing a new routine and expanding on that. And also there's a self-confidence that feels like when I'm out there in the world, an opportunity for me to actually engage with a stranger and invite them to share becomes a really uplifting experience for me with a perfect stranger. I feel that being, I guess, in these classes for now a year and a half or more, that the absorption of just putting myself, showing up, is changing who I am and my experience of life. And so I'm taking more risks. I'm, you know, I went online and started looking for editors and just sending out, would you be interested? I mean, it's like, you know, I'm talking to strangers in conversation. I'll bring up the book. It's like the intention for me to really want the message from this book to get out there. You know, I want to put in a box to say, wouldn't it be nice if it could get published world, you know, and we're going into manifest. So bring this up again, but it's like, there's so many ways that the message of the book could come out just in conversation. And so it's creating more opportunities for me to even share the message of my own waking up. So, yeah.
It's so beautiful. I'm so proud of you, girl. So proud of you. I mean, gosh, it's amazing. You are amazing. And for those of you that don't know Sandy, like, definitely get to know her. She's an amazing woman. All right. Thank you for sharing, honey. And Serena.
Well, just to piggyback on some things, and reminded me, I think Gabriella's share really reminded me of something that happened this morning. I have a practice of journaling with spirit every day and try to do that very first after I feed the cats. But anyway, I was, you know, just kind of thinking about being in my avatar and really, you know, putting the energy out for the day. But I got alerted because I had Damara, my black kitty. She was on me, as she was literally on the arm I was riding with, but sprawled across me, purring against my chest. And spirit just said, now let's just be present to this amazing thing she was giving, rather than thinking about what I needed to do next before manifest class and before this class. And, you know, I can just go in, I had just finished yoga and it was like, be here now, be really quiet and just take in this gift and realize that this is feeding my spirit and also my ability then to shed more light to others, you know. But it's that being conscious thing. And I was also, one of the things I've been doing in yoga lately, because I've got some knee injuries, and sometimes when I get into a position, it's a little ouchy, and I have been kissing my knees and giving them some love in that moment, and being that conscious about it. It's that, for me, one of my big learnings is to be in the moment and to tune into it, rather than having the mind going, what else is there to do? I have such a strong program for that. So I am really noticing the gift of the moment.
I love it. Thank you for sharing, Serena. Okay, those are such good shares. Thank you everyone for sharing. I think what I hope that when people are sharing, that you're thinking about either how you could add this to your daily practice, or feel, oh yes, I do that too. Or, it's sometimes using the reflection just gives us a little oomph to continue to elevate in frequency and be aware of what it is that we actually are doing in our spiritual practice, because life is the spiritual practice, and everybody just shared of something just so simple that they do just in their normal life, that we can continue to move into those frequencies that haven't been created. So what I'm thinking, what I'd like to break the illusion of, and Jennifer actually brought this to my attention this morning, is that there's this energetic pattern, and it's interesting that kind of going back to where we started this whole thing of scarcity. So, and because the gas prices are higher and the food is getting more expensive, and they're starting to create an energetic pattern of fear of survival. I don't need to, does everybody know the energy I'm talking about? We don't need to go into it much more than that. So what I would like to do is, we see it. I think we all see it in our own way, and then we can see it as in the collective. I don't watch the news, but I'm guessing that there's probably some stuff going on in the news as well. I think that we're aware of what it is. So let's just say that we see it. And so what I'd like to do is, let's create an energetic pattern. Let's just turn it inside out. Because when we think about that scarcity piece, the first thing you recognize is that we're looking for something outside of ourselves. And then we're judging the frequency of where it is in order to have the experience within our life, let's say. Well, if we're doing that and we're registering a frequency in scarcity, well, then guess what's going to happen? We're going to shift and we're going to have an experience of scarcity. So let's just look at that frequency pattern, and then we'll just do a little attunement. And how I want everyone to see it is that, so yes, we're not going to disagree that there's a frequency of scarcity going on right now. Okay, we're not pretending like it's not true. But if we all have the agreement that we can look at this, because it's only true in a certain level of frequency, right? Because if we're vibrating up here, this frequency can't be true because it's not in our field of resonance. So you can see how it just won't cross. And so what we can do is at least create this experience of abundance for our community, and then we'll continue to share that frequency with those that we come in contact with. And through the agreement, so that's where I would like everybody to go into their heart and say, do I agree that I can shift scarcity into abundance? And if the answer is yes, then let's move our attention and our focus to shifting scarcity inside out and bringing it into the divine expression of abundance. Can it be that easy? Well, it's that easy, and that's hard, right? It's now when we're all going to take away is because today is the day to make a decision and move an energetic forward that will be held in this really amazing frequency that's pouring in for us today, that we will continue to excel and expand on that frequency. So today, go into your heart space and say, I'm ready to choose abundance over scarcity. How hard is that? It's not hard, right? And then from this day forward, every time that we look at scarcity, we know is all we have to do is bring it back into our heart space and bring it into the expression of the divine through the frequency of abundance. That's all you have to do, you guys, because every time that you choose to do that, you are erasing the frequency of scarcity because you're conscious that you went back into it. And then you're also conscious in what you're actually creating when you saw it. Like, it really is that easy. And it may be that you have to do it 50 times a day until you get annoyed with yourself. And then it goes down to 20, and then it goes down to 10. And then you're just holding the frequency all the time. But it is a practice. And we're going to start it today because we're energetically being supported and creating big changes. All right, so let's just place hands on the heart. And just taking in a deep breath. If you'd like to start with that white blue light as it moves in through the nose, allowing it to trace along the brain, down through the spine, and out through the mouth. We're just connecting to these beautiful frequencies that are pouring in for us today to create big momentum, big change, bringing life into the highest frequency. Bringing our experiences to the highest frequency, our thoughts, our perspectives. Letting this light attune the body to divine intelligence, that universal intelligence. And from your heart space, fully look at the frequency of scarcity within you. Look at it all the way through. You just have to see it, just knowing that it's there. And then seeing how that same energetic pattern is showing up somewhere in your reality, whether it's listening to the news, reading the newspaper, talking to friends, just seeing it. That's all you have to do. There doesn't have to be a big emotional charge to it. It's just information. The divine is just saying, this is a frequency that isn't in the frequency of the universal intelligence. All we have to do is see it. And because we see it, we invite the divine frequency to pour into us. Activate the heart center. And now we're going to allow that frequency to move into the frequency of scarcity. And as it does, it completely shifts, because scarcity cannot exist in the frequency of divine intelligence. It's impossible. So just feel as the scarcity moves into the expression of this beautiful intelligence. Just notice how your body shifts in frequency just by inviting this in. And then we're going to allow this energy to fully express from our hearts and into the world, into that space that you saw it in your reality. We're fully attuning our reality to the divine intelligence of abundance, expansion, ascension. And then in this moment, claim, I choose abundance. I agree to the energetic pattern of abundance through divine intelligence. I choose this as my focus and my reality. And I take the responsibility of creating this just by calling in this frequency and allowing myself to move into the experience of this intelligence. I let go of my fears and my thoughts, and I allow this intelligence to guide me and show me what is possible. We're just going to tune that beautiful frequency of freedom behind it all, as you have the freedom to fully express abundance through this beautiful divine intelligence. And just take in a deep breath. And as you breathe out, say thank you. I love you. It is done. And it's that easy, you guys. It's that easy. It's just, yes, we'll probably have to do it more than one time, but it's that easy to reprogram our experience to abundance. So when we see those energetic patterns that don't feel good, that's okay. Is all it is giving us information of where we can do a simple exercise like what we just did and choose to bring it into the expression of the divine. That's what we're here to do as way showers, change makers, light workers. Anybody else have anything that they would like to share before we conclude today? Thank you so much for spending this time with me, Ashara.
I had an experience back in 2017 when I was really struggling with scarcity. And I didn't know how to shift it. I didn't have the tools that we get now from you, Jules. So I was struggling with it. I didn't have those tools. And so I decided to go and consult with trees about abundance. And I have 5 trees that I connect to, and I connected to each one of them, and I got a different answer, but they were all connected. And one of the things that one of the bits of information they gave me was, and this is such a kind of radical shift, was a radical shift for me, is that there's no such thing as scarcity. There's only abundance. There's an abundance on the negative side, and there's an abundance on the positive side. So there's an abundance of, like, suffering. There's an abundance of, poverty. There's abundance of all kinds of negative stuff, right? And then there's all the good stuff. And it's kind of just feels like it's on a continuum. So because I didn't have I only had the frequency of that negative abundance. But as soon as I realized it was all abundance, I just shifted up. I just shifted up to the positive end. It just made more sense to me.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Ashara. How fun. It's absolutely genius. Thank you, trees.
Trees.
Thank you for sharing. Leanne?
Yes, I just want to thank Ashara for saying that, and it ties in beautifully with what Kathy said. I forget what it was on Thursday. It comes back to that duality, that polarity, and you're right, that abundance can come from both ends, but at the end of the day, duality is there to bring us home, and which is our home frequency, which is in all of us. And again, it's tied into those 7 elements. So I love that Jules said it's the responsibility, and all you have to do is ask and practice, and it does get easier. I can't stress this enough, because it really is freeing once you do it over and over and over. And right now I'm vibing so high right now, I'm having a hard time finding my words, but I just hope that this inspires you to keep going at it. Go in the car, plug in your music, whatever you need to vibe high. And then the next challenge is just becoming comfortable in these really high frequencies when your head feels like it's going to pop off.
I feel you, honey. Thank you, Leanne. Thank you. All right, my lovelies. Well, we want to thank everybody that showed up live today, and then those of you that will be listening to this on the podcast or YouTube channel. And we are just sending you lots of high vibe abundance and joy, and just let's all shine our lights for the world, because when we shine, everybody benefits. Everybody, we benefit, the world benefits, and then when we shine, we have the light shine back to us. And so I shine my light to you. I see the light in you. And major chills again. I love you all so much, and we hope to see you very soon. Thanks for listening. Are you ready to take the next step into infinite possibilities? We invite you to discover more ways to play at activateevolution.com.